John Rafacz from Treyarch, and we are talking Call of Duty Black Ops 2. How is it different to Call of Duty Black Ops 1?
Wow. When the team at Treyarch kind of sat down and started working on Black Ops 2, and one of the really important things that they started thinking about was, what can we offer fans of Call of Duty that they've just never seen before? And that really kind of gave rise to a couple things that will be in the game on November 13th when people play. So, thinking about this in a couple different ways, in single player, we introduced Strike Force levels, which is a sandbox style of gameplay that is inserted into the story that impacts the outcome of your story. So ultimately, the Call of Duty ending that you play through can be slightly different than mine. All right. In multiplayer, there are quite a few things that you've never seen before, and it really kind of starts with create a class. The team has created this pick 10 system where everything in multiplayer kind of costs a point, and you've got 10 points to spend, which means that you can now create the class that you want. Customize it to your playstyle better than you've ever been able to before, because you're no longer forced to pick content. If you want to trade in a secondary and a lethal for the ability to put 3 attachments on your primary, you can. Okay. You move on with something like League Play, which is a matchmaking system that better suits people of similar skill levels, and also the rest of the esports agenda, whether that's the ability to podcast a match or live stream it, and then Zombies, which is more than a mode, it's a lifestyle. It's its own thing, but it's also the biggest Zombies experience that we've ever built, and there are sort of 3 dimensions to Zombies. There's Transit, the story mode, there's Classic Survival, and then there's something called Grief, which is a new mode of play where it's
humans versus zombies.
Yes, but here's the thing. Humans cannot shoot the other humans. Humans can both repel the oncoming zombie horde, but the name of the game is Last Man Standing. And the last man standing, their team wins. So we give players a griefing mechanic to cast zombies' attention toward the other guy. And if you do it the right way, you'll make their lives sufficiently miserable and come out on top.
I think that's really clever. I think it's the sort of thing where some people would say, all FPSs are fairly similar if you don't play them. But I think something like grief mode people haven't really seen something quite like that before.
Well, yeah, and it kind of speaks to sort of a larger approach that the team has taken. Like, we're very proud of the fact that the team has gone to great lengths to provide something for everyone, and whether that is in general, like you love the epic cinematic straight-ahead story of single player, the online experience of multiplayer, or the chance to just kind of kick back on your couch with zombies. In general, there's something for everybody. But within each mode, there's the ability to bite off chunks of things, whether it's custom games in multiplayer or even the ability to customize elements of zombies, or even jump into, set your level, because in zombies, you can, in a custom game, you can jump into level 5, 10, 15, or 20, whatever you want to do, whatever you have time for. And within multiplayer, we're giving people tools to go from noob to vet, and really kind of speak to everyone in between, and give you the ability to kind of ease into the water if you're not familiar with it already, and polish up and get comfortable. There's a lot of game to be played, and there's a lot for everybody.
While there are some people who, there is still, honestly, there's a bunch of people who go out and buy Call of Duty and then only ever play multiplayer. But there's also a bunch of people who want it for some sort of story engagement and involvement. What sort of story do we have this time around?
How much time do I have? Shortly after the team wrapped up work on the first Black Ops game, they gravitated to this idea of a near-future setting, and it was very appealing for a couple reasons. Treyarch had been a team making World War II games, and when they moved to Black Ops in the Cold War, it gave them access to a range of new technology and weapons, and ultimately the ability to create new gameplay experiences. But it also allowed them to sort of begin fine-tuning this storytelling technique of the history that you know and the deniable operations that you never heard about. And that really comes to bear in Black Ops 2, where about 2/3 of the game takes place in 2025, and a third takes place at the end of the Cold War in the 80s. And you play as David Mason, the son of Alex Mason from the first game. You meet guys like Old Man Woods, who through a series of flashbacks can kind of like lay the foundation of the story, and it becomes this time-spanning, generation-spanning narrative. Now, to actually answer your question, you know, when doing all the research for the game, we found that warfare in 2025 is going to be heavily reliant on drones and advanced robotics. And given that there's, you know, it's so computerized and that there's an electronic pulse running through everything, we really kind of got thinking about what would happen if someone hacked into that military infrastructure, took command of it, and used it for their own ends. And that's what a guy named Raul Menendez does. So basically, you've got this new villain, and you really kind of understand where he comes from and his motivations for what he does in 2025. But he basically takes over the U.S. military and uses it against us.
That sounds awesome.
Well, you know, all in a day's work for Call of Duty.
Well, I mean, it sounds horrible, but it sounds awesome as something to explore.
I totally know what you mean.
So, what is it that you are most looking forward to about Call of Duty Black Ops 2?
All of it. I got to say that the thing that's probably going to make the most difference for me is create a class and combat training. Because first of all, with create a class, it gives me a chance to really kind of to mold my a loadout to my play style a little bit better, and that's something that is really going to benefit me. But also being able to take that and polish it up in combat training, because there are new dimensions to combat training now. So there's something that we call boot camp, which is TDM only, a mix of humans and bots, but full XP through level 10. All right, so you're ranking up, you're progressing, and then we move beyond level 10. We move you on to objective modes, where it's again a mix of humans and AI, but only half XP. And then there's bot stomp, where you just sort of jump in and wail on bots, and like being able to play in those three areas, it really kind of helps you. It's like practicing free throws before the big game, and it really kind of warms me up and gets me ready for sort of online gameplay. But then, like when you mix in league play, league play is going to help match me up with people that are sort of in my wheelhouse anyway. So it's like there are a number of features that are going to help ease me into the waters, which often consume me.
One last thing that I was just thinking. The Call of Duty franchise is arguably one of the biggest gaming franchises of the decade of however long it's been. I know that every developer wants to make the best game they possibly can. Is there any pressure on you guys at Treyarch, because you have how many records of the previous games? Is there any pressure that you guys have to make the best game of 2012?
No, because really at the end of the day, I mean, you could, and it goes, whether it's making a game or anything else in life, you can spend a lot of time worrying about the things that you have no control over. Instead, we are more concerned about putting in great creative, great art, and making a game that ultimately at the end of the day is fun. And if you focus on fun and sort of work with the community along the way, listen, interact, everything just kind of answers itself.
There you go. When does Call of Duty Black Ops 2 launch, and what platforms can we get it on, and how long do we have to wait?
I've got a funny feeling it's going to be out on November 13th on the 360, PS3, and PC. Additionally, fans can expect it to come to the Wii U.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.